remember the headline we were talking about?
Yes.
Yaka Master Mackenzie.
Gaten, yes.
Gaten
Yes.
increase the stipend from
Yes.
15 to
50,000.
50,000.
I mean, well, it's from what I read earlier, it's a proposed thing. I don't know if it's been officialized yet.
It's official.
Also, it's been officialized now. It's gone into
Yes.
into execution.
Yes.
Okay, that's
However, we having like mixed emotions from our from the guys outside. I've seen on social media they were like, unemployment rate is high. They should be taking that money and investing it on unemployment than on artists. And others were like, who are those living legends? Others were like, what criteria does it? Do you have to have, or whatever hats that
Makes
you
you
have
to
have
qualify.
to qualify to
Yeah.
being a legend?
Yes.
Some said 15,000 is enough because it qualifies you to be one of, like, I don't know, like top 20 second class people that can afford life. So some are happy about it, some are not.
Okay, I love the fact that you came on Nell's side, because when I was
Going
raising
through it,
this,
yeah.
ne, I looked at it guy too, right? It's so good that they are honoring living legends.
Exactly.
Ne?
Yes.
But then again, my worry is, if you're gonna give these living legends 15,000, ne, and then Tina, we get 350.
Yeah.
What does it say?
I actually saw one of the comments
the
of
youth.
I actually saw
Young
one of the
people.
comments on Twitter. They were saying there is no some sort of money that is given to the youth for unemployment. However, Mr. Mackenzie is willing to
Give 50,000.
give 50,000.
Now let's leave the youth. Let's put the youth aside.
Yes.
Let's talk about creatives.
Yes.
Is there something that is given to creatives? Because now, if you're applying for a funding, ne, it's a process. There needs to be an open window for you
Yes.
to access the funding. That's number one.
Yeah.
And then number two, Nancy window say corner, still you don't get funding, right? But then again, each and every month, 50,000 goes to one person. Tina, we would love to just get 5,000 as a creative, 5,000 a month.
I mean, look,
Even though 5,000, I don't think it's enough, but it also assists in terms of like not be like other creatives who end up on social media asking for donations, right? But I also understand where Sis knows coming from. What about creatives that don't have that form of income, but still need to live, put food on the table, bath, and do whatever? However, living legends are getting 50,000. Look, I'm not against it. It's good. It's for them. But what about other gaps that are not filled?
Yeah.
We can't rush and fill for legends, whereas the main problem is not fixed. There are upcoming legends in Tarazetu.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Who are not being accommodated by such. We have gatekeepers. Abasvalelayo umnyango if you want to be into the industry. So silungisa nini leyo before siphalaba 50,000 rand.
And Bunolo, we must remember that these living legends, right? They once got money.
Exactly.
They had money. They
Exactly.
chowed it like nobody's business.
Some are still having money.
But yeah, no,
Yes.
but no, that's up for debate. It's very debatable. and arguable.
How?
I mean, unless you have true factual statements and stories. So it's in Hore. Musi Mist as a living legend in 2024 used to have money. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Because
Okay,
I mean,
each and every
look,
person-
we know for the industry, and what the things that we're going through in the industry now are things that are not new under the sun.
Okay, can I give you a quick example?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Remember last year, was it last year when Dr. Malinga was going around
Yes,
asking for
for
funds?
donations.
last year somewhere.
Yeah.
And
I
he
think
just
last year.
he just bought it. Is it a 1 million or 2 million house before he came for donations as his oskido
Okay.
to buy the house cash.
That's what I'm trying to say, Bunolo in Dogba. As much as we're saying they are suffering now, but let's not forget that
They once had money.
They once had money
I'm
and
not
they used
disputing
it.
that, but what I'm saying is that's debatable, and it's a case to case issue and thing, right? It doesn't necessarily apply to all of them. Go na le ba bangwe vele ke legend, like re a mo itse gore kgala shapa, whether in acting or in music or whatever the case may be, right? And whatever hat that you wear in the space. But just because you're a legend in the public eye and the public space does not necessarily mean that your finances meet your.
At least you're
your
getting
level.
something.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying then
They got
when you're
something.
working,
They got
how can-
something.
How what's the guarantee? that
Even
you know?
okay,
It's a guarantee.
even
Yeah.
if even we know.
That's why I get it. Unless you have actual factual
but then
statements.
Musi-
Gore, as Musi missed when I was working in the early 2000s, right? Ke le mang mang wa kwaito, ke le etsang, ke etsang, ke sharp am fetho. Unless we have factual things, gore, Musi is a legend and his finances met his legendary
even if
status.
Musi got
Yeah.
5,000 or 10,000,
he got something. There are
Tina,
creators who haven't got anything.
We're here. We're still waiting. Askaka for money anything.
Yeah.
Sikatwa, si decline or even 350.
Yeah.
Yes, decline.
Yeah.
But living legends, they're getting 50,000 from 15,000. But then again, Mr. Mackenzie, the first thing he did, my Hlalweni, I'm cancelling fans Zebol.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
People, they clapped hands for him. Ne? Now, how is it different from cancelling if Ilando as our fans, and now that they are taking 50,000 and giving to people ababe nemali who failed to save, who failed to save.
No, I hear you. You know, it's very tricky. It's very tricky, and there's no like objective truth to it or statement or I don't know how to describe it, but it's not one-sided. And what you have with such things is that it is never black and white. There's always a gray area, and there's always going to be advantages, to the steps that you take as someone who is Gayton Mackenzie, and there's always going to be negatives, right? And turning the blow down, or for lack of a better way, so we can never actually be satisfied in the space. It works. It's great that Baba Tusa cause but on the other end, the argument would then be, what are you doing for everyone else who like the thing that you guys are saying? So we can never all be satisfied. I don't know about you, but that's just how I see it and how I understand it. But Mackenzie is really trying his best, in my opinion. I was very skeptical about him going into office, because I've saw him as someone who is not part of the space. We've never known Mackenzie to be a creative or an entertainer or an artist of any sort or any manner or any shape whatsoever. Do you get what I'm trying to say? But he's making good strides.
You know how I feel.
Yes.
Ukubone when making a fire, ubeki imbiza on the outside. And then you look at this fire is blowing up like a piece. But when you go there, ufake isandla kula manzi, the water is still cold.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. Yeah.
I feel like that's what's going on now.
With Mackenzie.
Yes. Now he's moving.
Yes.
He's making changes,
Yes.
right? He's making these big changes. But then again, when you come closer and look at the people he's making these changes for, nothing is changing. We are still the same broke people he found us here.
Yes.
One other thing I was saying, Nini, he had a meeting with the organizations, stakeholders. Ne?
Yes.
It was good, ne? Because he was discussing with these stakeholders. But then again, we should not run away from the fact that these stakeholders is the organization and forums as means they are not serving artists, they are serving themselves. It's all about what these artists can do for us.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Not what we can do for the artists.
Yeah.
Then if the minister is sitting down with these organizations and discussing the future of artists, of which these artists are not here. They are discussing the future of artists on their behalf. But then
Yes.
again, when this future comes, it's going to save the organizations and stakeholders, not the artists.
Not the artist. And I feel that it's a bit weird that you're gonna sit down with artists that are not there. I don't know how you're sitting down with them, but you are sitting down. You come with decisions, think about it, and it makes sense. Then you go and approve it and you do it. You haven't tested it with few artists that are on the
Yes.
ground.
Yes.
Right?
Thank you.
You need to test it with artists that are on the ground before unganikeza ama cherry on top, because it seems like it benefits only cherries on top.
Yeah.
And Bonolo, you find out the cherries on top, ne? They were on the ground ngoko, or they were artists ngoko, and now they are behind the scenes. Now you come to people who are behind the scenes, you're explaining this vision, and they are seeing it because they sing money. Now when you take it to e-creatives, they can't do it because they were not there from the initial stage. They don't know how it started. They were not involved from a stage so
Exact.
But artists were there, no Tanya.
where
We spoke about it. You and I and
Where?
Mo spoke about it in the first meeting.
okay.
The second meeting that people are not invited at was the one that Athama Fokat was denied access.
We talk even the first one. Even
But
the
artists
first one.
were there.
Even the first people who are there, ne? I remember saying this kuwe the other day.
Yes.
But I saw pictures circulating. Ne? I know half of that room. Ibipan. I know them. These are people I know, right?
Yes.
And even if you look at the nominated people, half of them, they are not artists. They are not artists. These are people who own the organization. They own the organization, the forums. They own groups of people, but they are not amongst those people. Bona.
But do you feel in that regard it's the things, the decisions that they're going to make moving forward are decisions that are not going to be best for artists?
Yes.
It's gonna benefit them. You know, it was gonna be appropriate if Musi, you were at the meeting, Nolu was at the meeting, I was at the meeting, Mo was at the
I
meeting.
said, that's the first question I asked them. But were you
Upcoming
there?
artist at the meeting.
Were you there? Did you hear when they said, you upcoming artists, come, let us talk about like,
Sivalela ngaphandle, that's what we're trying to emphasize
and
here.
the problem, Musi, is that ne, when as a stakeholder, as a business owner, ne, you own this organization, or in your wallet you've got few cents, few thousands, ne, you are okay. I'm an artist, right? You guys go and sit with the minister, you discuss that. Okay, fine, let's not release these funds in the next month. Ne? Let's wait until they reach 15 million in the next year, right? You guys agree with that? Now I'm desperate now. I need money now. As an artist, what are we saying?
Hence, I'm saying they sit, discuss, it makes sense to them, they approve it, but it doesn't make sense to people who are on the ground.
Yeah. I hear you guys. I hear you. Clearly we have different perspectives and we take different stances when it comes to it. But the points that you guys are raising are valid. And it's truth. So hopefully moving forward, people like Bogaten will really take into consideration the thoughts and opinions of artists on the ground. Remember the last time I told you, I don't know who I was telling. I think I was telling MGM or someone who was here hanging out with us on a Tuesday afternoon. I personally stopped going to the, what do you call them? Not meetings, but workshops.
Okay.
And that other way, I stopped going to those things where you have industry people who are doing great stuff, and they will be guiding you and sharing information. I stopped going to those because what I found with those things is that exactly how you guys describe it now is people talk based on what works for them and what benefits them and what's helped them to get to where they are right now. But they have not, I wouldn't say they don't have an idea, but they've lost touch with what an artist on the ground needs to be a success in the space. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So it's very, 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 very tricky. So when we're still in conversation, myself, Onolo knows and Lunganyano Statan, Monola PNL about all things artistry.